this training series, we've been talking about building a powerful sales organization. And in the last few sessions, we've been particularly talking about how to improve your personal selling as a business owner. And these are tools and techniques and tips that you can use to train your staff in sales as well. We talked about the sales success triangle, and this is foundational to building a strong sales model for yourself and others. The sales success triangle has three components: behavior, attitude, and technique. And we talked about behavior, and to begin with on behaviors, you want to have some clear goals, you want to have good plans, and then you want to take action. And you want to be consistent in those selling behaviors and those selling actions in order to get the results. In fact, your results are a direct, overflow of your activity and your behaviors. And if you want better results, you simply have to practice better behaviors. And so behaviors is the first component. The second component is attitude or mindset. We talked about how critical it was that you have a positive, optimistic, abundance mindset and attitude about yourself, your company, and your marketplace. And in this session, we want to talk about techniques, and I want to kind of capsulize the sales process for you in three parts. And those three stages are connect, qualify, and close. And so in every selling situation, those are the three things you do. You connect with a prospect, you qualify them to see if they have a need for the kind of service that you can provide, and then you close the opportunity and make the deal. And so I want to give you three techniques for each of those components of the sales process. So let's start with connect. In connecting, there are three techniques that you want to master. The first one is the practice of personal presence. You want to be present. In order to connect with people, you've got to be present. You've got to be listening. You've got to be engaged. They've got to know you're there and know you're hearing them. And so you want to practice strong presence. And presence means I have energy, I'm tuned into you and what your needs are. I'm there focused on you, not on myself, but on you. And you have this presence that people feel and they experience. And when they do, they more naturally are able to connect with you. And so that's a technique that you want to work on and really perfect. The second technique that you want to work on here is the technique of reversing. You see, the truth is people are defensive when it comes to salespeople. They're cautious. They've been burned. And so their defenses are up, their guard is up, and they're expecting you to do certain things. And so they will actually react in certain ways, expecting you to either pressure them or try to manipulate them or take advantage of them because those have been experiences they've had in the past. When you sense that is happening in your relationship or in this communication, you want to reverse the process. In other words, you want to do something different that kind of interrupts that pattern, interrupts what they are expecting. So just for example, just recently I was coaching a salesperson and they were saying, I'm trying to reach out to this person and they're not responding and I don't know what to do. And so I said, well, how can you reverse that then? They're expecting you to hound them and to hammer them and to pester them. They're expecting that. What can you do to kind of reverse? And so as we talked about it, one of the things that she realized she could do is she could go for the no. In other words, she could say, hey, I may have misunderstood that what your desire or needs were here, and I may have missed it. And I just want you to know, if this is not where you want to go, it's okay to say no. And the truth is, people, when they realize that you're not going to pressure them, you're not going to do what the traditional salesperson does, they relax. And oftentimes they will then respond in a more positive way. There are many ways that you can reverse in the conversation, in the sales process, and the purpose of reversing is to interrupt the pattern, the traditional pattern that they're expecting from you. And so the third technique that you want to practice here is empathy. And so the three techniques are personal presence, reversing, and empathy. And empathy is that ability to listen in a way that you connect on an emotional level with the prospect. And you basically feel what they're feeling, and they know you're feeling it. And that is powerful and able to enable you to connect with them. And so connecting is the first step in the process, but then the second step is qualifying. And I want to give you three techniques that you want to master when you're trying to qualify someone. The first one is discovering pain through questions. You want to practice using good questions that help you get to the real need, the real pain in your prospect's life or in their business. And so you want them to talk about what they're struggling with, what they're needing, what they're looking for. But don't settle for the surface answers. Dig deeper, go a little deeper. Tell me more about this, for example. And how long has this been happening? And how long have you felt this way? And questions like, what have you done so far to try to address this need? And what's worked? And then even to the question maybe, have you come to a place where you're almost ready to give up on this? When you get to a question like that, you have gone deep into the pain to the point where they're feeling it, you're feeling it, and now that pain is what's going to drive them in making a decision. And so the first technique I want you to practice and work on is to discover pain through questions. The second technique is active listening. Listening carefully to what they're saying. Don't interrupt them. Let them finish their sentences. Listen to what they're saying. And to prove that you're listening, you may even want to paraphrase. What I hear you saying is this. And you either say back or you paraphrase what they've said. That way they know you're really listening to them. So the second technique here is active listening. The third technique that I want you to work on and master here is what I call addressing the budget issue. A lot of times we're afraid to talk about money. We're afraid to talk about the price of our product or our service. And I find that it's better to get that right out there on the table. First, of course, find the pain. Find out what they really need and where it's really creating a problem and a pain point for them. But when you're ready to bring it to a point of maybe you could provide a solution, talk about the money. We do provide a solution for this, and it typically costs, and you give them a range or you give them a price, but get the money topic out on the table and just simply ask, is that something that will work in your budget? Does that fit with your budget? Is that what you were anticipating paying for this solution? And find out, because it may be that you're talking to somebody who's got a lot of pain, but they don't have the resources to pay for your product or services. And so those are three key techniques for qualifying. And then the third component or the third stage in the sales process is closing. And I have three techniques I want you to work on here. The first one is capturing and restating the pain. And a lot of times I'll do this in a follow-up email. I'll restate what I heard you say was this, and I'll talk about how it's creating a challenge or a struggle for them. And then you want to be able to do that both verbally and in written form. So the first technique is capturing and restating the pain. The second technique is presentation. You want to present a solution. And you don't want to talk about features and benefits, and that's what every salesperson tends to do. Let me tell you about all the bells and whistles and all the features and benefits of our service or product. You don't want to do that. You just want to talk about your solution to their pain and present in a way that is concise, that's powerful, and is a clear solution to what they need. And then the third technique here I want you to work on is ask for the sale. How will you ask for the business? One way that I typically go about this is once I've restated the pain and I really know and they know that I understand what they're struggling with and I present a solution to their pain, I'll simply ask a question like, would it make sense for us to work together? Or does this make sense to you? Or is this what you're looking for? And so find the question, find the way that's going to enable you to simply, with no pressure, ask for the business. And so those are techniques that I want to just put out there and have you start working on right now. There are other techniques in the process that maybe you want to work on as you develop and grow. But I want you to be sure you're developing the right behaviors, the right attitude, and strong techniques for making sales.